Hey, Jason Rice, Lotpop. Gonna give a few minutes for this to load up. And, you know, I'm gonna takes a while to get some people on here, but also realize people are watching this as it's recorded or after it's recorded. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dig into this. We here at Lotpop, we help dealerships with used car inventory management, doing a lot of demos too. The holidays are right around the corner. Thanksgiving this week. Hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. Hey, Adam, hope you're watching. But one of the things in the title of this Facebook Live is, should you do something now with your used car inventory as far as maybe cleaning it up and getting it moving, or wait till the tax season, which is right around the corner? Well, one of the biggest I think contributing aspects to a dealership suffering gross in volume is not having an aging policy and then sticking to it. Trying to maybe run your inventory so you're not missing one of those peaks or valleys in the market. And when the most successful stores that I've seen over the last 13 plus years are the ones that stay most consistent to their process. And again, that's having a strict aging policy and do it with or without a good or bad market. And they don't worry about missing that little window of opportunity on particular seasons of cars or things like that. What I mean by that, there's a lot of dealerships that really bulk up right now and just overbuy for their inventory compared to their current sale rate, anticipation for the tax season, again, which is right around the corner. But helping, hey, what's up, Bert? How's it going, Tim Jackson? Nice to see you, Andrew. And again, please, guys, comment on this as I'm talking and give me your insight, give you some feedback. But, as we talk to dealers, obviously doing demos now, a lot of dealers are saying, let me get through the holidays at, Thanksgiving here, and we'll talk some more. But one of the things that we, that I see is a lot of dealerships right now bulking up for that tax season. And a lot of dealers at this point in time, if you're not clean, some dealers might end up holding out until tax season hits. But here's the problem with that. One, if you do want to get clean, it takes on average, depending how fast the dealer's willing to rip off that Band-Aid, it takes on average 45 to 90 days, again, depending on age and how fast the dealer's ripping off the Band-Aid, to get rid of that age problem. If you look at the calendar, tax season, 45 days from now is going to be January 1st. Okay, we get through Christmas, Thanksgiving in about 45 or so days, or a little bit less, is going to be January 1st. Tax season really won't really start kicking into mid-February or March. So that's 75 to 90 days from now. So if you really want to maximize those strong selling months, those tax season months, I would be using the next 90 days to clean up your inventory so you can go into those months doing both gross and volume. Okay. The dealers that are always clean are going to go into those markets clean month in and month out. They're not overbuying in anticipation. Well, I'm buying now so I can buy it cheaper than it would cost me if I got to buy them in March. And I understand and I get that. And sometimes those cars are harder to get and you might not have any inventory. And we know that's not going to be the case. But here's the other part of that aspect is looking at holding costs. And that's a real number. It costs you something to keep each one of those cars in every little slot. Even if you're paying cash, it costs you electric bills and every rent or whatever. There's expenses to keeping those cars in every little slot. In the CM, it says it's average anywhere from $35 to upwards of $50, $60 to keep a car in a slot. And let's just take that low number, 35. So let's say we're buying cars right now, bulking up in anticipation for that tax season, which really probably won't hit till March, but let's even say middle of February. Again, that's 75 to 90 days from now. $35 a day times 90 days. If you go into there, and I'm going to do the math on a computer over here just to get the right numbers, it's $3,100 that it costs you to sit on that car. Now, I'm telling you, come March, these cars are not going to cost you $3,000 more. So yes, book to book, they might end up being a little bit cheaper and easier to get a hold of right now. But what we're seeing across the board in markets after markets after markets, from small town to large town, is inventory levels are shooting up. Okay, because we do a 100-mile radius of your store. When you're a client, we do a 100-mile radius and grab listings off of these sites. So autotradercars.com, we look at how many cars are listed on these sites. In every market, we're seeing an increase in inventory levels. But yet November, December, it's a lower shopper count. December tends to bring the lowest shopper counts. When we look at, like AutoTrader will give you a shopper count number. Those months are typically the lowest of the year as inventory levels are creeping up. So if you're going to buy now, and maybe your store that carries 100 sells 70, and you're bulking up to 150 to 200 for a tax selling season, one, I wouldn't do that. Two, based on the last 2 or 3 years, and this is fact, and we've seen it, and you know it's true, the tax season isn't as big as it has been. The last 2 years, the federal government has delayed returns, so it wasn't a big bulk of returns going out to the market. So it spread this buying cycle out further and further. So it might trickle in at the end of February, and it trickles out to the end of April. And I know so many dealers that come by the end of March, if that tax season really hasn't hit by April, it's fizzled out by then. And so it's just been spread out throughout those months because of the delay. And then the government just doesn't send out a bunch of checks at once. They trickle those things out. And so one, I don't know if the tax season is as strong as it's ever been, and if it will be the same. I know I got a bigger return last year, and it might get another one this, but it also depends on when I get the check and when the people are going to get their returns. So again, I believe if you want to go into these tax season months and do your volume and do your gross, get your inventory cleaned up of it now, start now. You got 45 days to the end of December. So January 1st is going to be about 45 days to about 90 days. 45 to 90 days is what we see it takes for guys to clean up their inventory. The guys that rip the Band-Aid off fast, that have 20% or more aged inventory, those guys that rip the Band-Aid off pretty quick, they will clean up 45 days, January 1st. If it takes longer than that, because you can't afford to take those hits right now going into slower selling seasons, you're not going to be cleaned up until, mid-February going to March. And then that's when you get a good bulk. That's usually the highest shopper count. Go in your auto trader if you haven't, look at the shopper counts. Those are usually the highest months. And so of activity. And then dealers' inventory levels might be getting lighter at that time. You want to use those months to make both gross and volume. So clean up the inventory now. Don't be overbuying and holding out on some inventory and thinking that, you get to buy it $1,000 or so cheaper. Again, people that just joined us looking at holding costs. If you just take the lowest number of 35 days at 90 days to hold on to this car, in hopes that, I've got it and no one else does, and I got to buy it $1,000 cheaper in this November than I do now in March, what they're going lane for. It costs you $3,100 in holding costs. So it's not going to make you more of a profitable dealership. So that's my rant right now. Again, if you're a dealership that's struggling with aged inventory, you got one or two choices: start cleaning it up, or just kind of go through the motions until the tax season hits. And again, that's a good 90 days away. I would encourage you to use these next 45 to 90 days going into the New Year's to clean up that inventory. There's no negative about it. The other thing is, some negative here, a lot of headlines about the stock market, a second mini recession going on. Let me see, is it Ronaldo? He said, how do people not know this? You'd be surprised at how many dealers you run into that, again, are bulking up and holding on cars for big old selling seasons, or sitting on age. And I guess they're just holding their breath till the tax season comes and to get through the seasons. But, a second wave of maybe a recession. I just seen a headline this morning about how, matter of fact, I don't know if you guys look at it, but I look at Drudge Report all the time. One of the headlines there was talking about Goldman is warning economy will slow to a crawl. So they're looking at a 3, I think, in the first half of the year, 3% growth to dropping down to 2%, 1.7% estimation going in the second half of 2019. So we've seen that. We've a lot of people talking about a peak in the auto industry where we've hit these 17 million and things might start slowing down. But that's new car sales. And, if you're a franchise dealer, if that peak has happened, Bill, you need one, don't you? You need a Lotpop shirt. As those sales, if new car sales hit a peak and they start dropping off, used is usually where dealerships are running. That way they've got control. They've got the control of what they can spend, how much they want to spend other than their floor plan cap. But you got a lot more flexibility on used, and this is where you can actually make up the difference in new car sales. So if that recession's around the corner, again, think about it. It might not happen for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year from now. But again, if it takes 45 to at least 90 to 120 days to clean up that inventory, you're going to want to start doing it now. Use these next 45 days, next 90 days to clean up your inventory, set it in position to where the tax season, if it is good, you're benefiting making gross and volume. And then you're running into mid-year to where if the recession does start hitting, you're clean. And the dealers that are clean don't worry about these type of headlines, or don't worry about, I mean, obviously they're paying attention to it and making adjustments, but they're clean and they don't have anything bogging down the growth of their store. So hope this was helpful. Hope people who are recording or seeing this and recording give me any comments, any feedback. If you're a dealer, like a free inventory evaluation, just go to lotpop.com, fill it out, and we'll do a lot walk with you. I'll give you some insight onto how to what you need to look at, what areas you need to improve. You know, when we do a demo, I say I don't really like calling it a demo because I want to show them some insight on the current inventory right now, both with photos and description problems, but maybe log into their system, see where there's things that they're missing that at the end of the meeting, do business with us or not, at least I got something tangible to take out of that. So lotpop.com, free inventory evaluation, help your dealership get through this upcoming slower season, and who knows what's going to happen over the next 90 days in the economy. Give me a call, 844-LOTPOP4 or jrice@lotpop.com. Also, go to our YouTube channel. All these type of lives and over 100 interviews, quick tips and everything are on our YouTube channel, Lotpop. Just look for that channel, subscribe to that, I'll be updated. Thanks for your time, and again, get a hold of me if you need any help. Thanks.